Okay, great. So thank you for joining me. This is my capstone project for the education and outreach track. My name is Carrie Díaz, and the exhibit is called More Than Just Honey, Honey. It's meant to be an innovative curriculum for teaching about honeybees, and it has become locally known as the Bee Museum here in Burbank. So quick overview, I'll give you a little bit about my background, the concept to implementation, the impact, lessons learned, and what's next for this, what others are saying, and then quickly the acknowledgements. Let's see. Oh, how do I get it to where it's showing? It's cutting things off there at the top. Do you see that, Can?
I do. Maybe click escape to make it to exit the presenter view for now. Click the X.
Okay.
Maybe just do it this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that will work.
Okay, so my journey started from student, and now I am actually an educator. So I started at the Valley Hive taking their classes. Charlene Potter, who is also a camp graduate, was my mentor. And then I am currently on the LA Beekeeping Association Education Committee. And I work for Best Bees as a professional urban beekeeper in Los Angeles. And before that, my professional background was 30 years in visual merchandising and retail, entrepreneurship, and community engagement with events. So the combination of these two is what supported my vision within the education track to take this content to the public in a very innovative way. And you'll see at the bottom banner, these are some of the organizations, institutes, press that I have been on and worked with since my beekeeping journey. So now I get booked as a honeybee educator, a speaker, and a consultant. And I really contribute so much of that to this program and what I have been learning and that. So the concept was I had the opportunity to really talk to and engage with thousands of people about honeybees because of my retail business. And I realized that many of these people thought of bees for only their honey or their sting. And I was really disappointed that the reverence that beekeepers have for honeybees was often missing. And so I questioned, without that reverence, how could the advocacy and the action be sustained or increased over time? So my answer to this was this capstone project. If I could build a bridge between what beekeepers know and what the public knows, but with a twist, then that's why I transformed my boutique, which was a vintage boutique, into a hybrid space. Sustainable clothing plus bee education plus community hub. So I extended the in-house education. And then on top of that, I extended the in-house education by designing merchandise like t-shirts, jewelry, baseball caps, which really helps turn my customers into walking billboards for environmental impact and pollinator education. And you'll see some of that in the tour. So the twist is by merging existing commerce, in this case, my clothing retail, with environmental education, it shows that pollinator education and daily living can coexist anywhere. And educating a lot of people only takes a small amount of space. So the formula for this implementation was science plus storytelling, and that's the blueprint. So the goals were to change public perception by building this new type of curriculum and redefine how urban communities understand bees. Number two, offer opportunity to rethink. So I was very familiar with educating children and adults and the public by taking the observation frame, doing a presentation, but I felt like we could do more. And by repurposing urban spaces and push beyond the existing methods of teaching or learning experiences by making it immersive, making it very visual, as you will see. So, and number 3, I really wanted to increase the impact by transforming the fear of being stung by the honeybee into environmental stewardship. So helping those same people be advocates for bees with no protective gear needed. So they weren't going to have to get out in the apiaries or close to bees in order to make that change happen. So building a storytelling system. So I researched for this program, and this fluctuates depending on your source, but you've got about 8 seconds to capture the modern attention span. So I needed this exhibit to be innovative, creative, very sensory, so that it would move the viewer beyond facts very quickly and inspire them to action, engage them, and be highly visual. So I did that by using a lot of retail psychology. I started with the buy-in approach. So with that approach, you have to make it relatable. You have to cater to multiple learning styles. And again, cater to short attention spans or very highly selective attention spans, which is what it's called now. So goals for the experiment, it's kind of like a social experiment, right? With this type of exhibit, was to skyrocket the rate of current and next-gen eco-stewards and make it a scalable resource for beekeepers and educators globally. So something that could be scaled either in other existing environments, and also to break it down into bite-sized curriculum pieces that I have since been implementing in the schools. So with that, let's take a tour. I'm going to turn my camera around. Did it go? Not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if I have to stop sharing. I think I have to stop sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna walk to the front so you get the customer experience and the guest experience from the beginning. I'm not gonna go all the way outside because it's very loud, but there's one thing that that really kicks off the experience, and it's this. So right there, you can see it. It says beekeeper owned.
Yep.
And I can hear people from outside repeat that, and it really brings people in and it starts their experience. So I'm trying to see. Okay. So there are multiple 8-foot to 10-foot plexiglass panels. And this first one is about a very condensed timeline of the history with humans, pointing out, starting with the Egyptian beekeepers, all the way to a pop culture reference of a bee in Minecraft. And again, keeping the content very precise and somewhat short, because originally this project started as one panel. And then slowly, as Keon and I worked together, realized it took over the entire boutique, as you will see. So the boutique, I changed the name. It's now called Hive and Hanger. The exterior has paint and honey painted on the exterior. So this panel is about the importance of honey, its incorporation into our culture, information about honey fraud, and this is a 4-foot honeycomb that I had commissioned by a local artist. So again, that feeling of being immersed and you can really get up close without protective gear. And so there'll be little things sprinkled in here about, that's a flyer about, kids can come in and have little classes So the first panel is called B101 Mighty Helpers. And this panel was meant to do really just some broad strokes about bee biology in general. And I had 3D printed models of the different casts. And one thing I wanted to make sure that I addressed, this information was very much guided by my conversations with the public before I started, and also sort of shifted as I got more information from the public. And one of those things was that a lot of people didn't know the difference between a bee and a wasp.
Mhm.
They also didn't understand how much of our agriculture is actually supported by the honeybee. So this is, again, like a broad stroke, a little bit of information about venom therapy and sting therapy to address the fear of being stung and the perception that it's actually very helpful to people. And then just some fun facts, because there's so many fun facts.
Yeah.
Changing the perception about swarms, because in history, they've really been associated with good luck in very many cultures. So really trying to change the perception, some popular perceptions that exist, and reframing them for the public. And then this is probably, well, this is my favorite part, and is all of these lifelike fruits, vegetables, herbs, coffee, spices, cotton, so people can quickly understand what we mean when we say that using honeybees to pollinate food crops is a $15 billion industry, and how that really, what's in it for them, right? When you educate the public about something that they really don't either quite understand, I believe you have to do a what's in it for me type of introduction.
Yeah.
So I do have a little blurb in here about Tell the Bees that's behind me. This is to visually educate people that how far bees fly to make a pound of honey, 55,000 miles. There's a few screens in here that blip through and people can go through at their pace. Fun facts about bees. And again, I really have to thank Keon and the lab for combing through all of this content with me to make sure it was accurate. This is called the B list, better than the A list, noteworthy beekeepers and bee supporters throughout time and history. And then here's merchandise that I've created. Necklaces, caps, t-shirts. And I hear my halfway timer there. So, and then if I back up, you can see there's quite a big pollinator garden in here. And these are all flowers that the honeybee loves. I call it their favorite menu. And I tried to do a really good job of highlighting the dandelion and educating people that they're very, very instrumental in their diet in between popular flowers and in between seasons. So this is information about the type of toxins, and I made it, it might seem kind of graphic to people, but I felt like it was really important for people to understand what actually happens to bees when they come in contact with this, the glyphosate and the neonicotinoids, because otherwise it's easy to ignore, I think, unless it's really presented in a very specific way about what is happening to the bees and their nervous system. And then, so all of this is meant, to take action. What can I do? And through this presentation, and then also me here educating about it all and giving tours and continuing to do research, I feel really good about telling people if there's one thing you can do, it's plant these types of flowers. And if we all do that, we make this biodiversity quilt that is so healthy for their immune system. So these are all visual prompts about the humidity inside the hive, talking about how punctual bees are and how they can adjust for time when they go back and do the waggle dance. I support other beekeepers who make candles. Let's see. So there's actual honeycomb in here, which people really helps them connect with the bees. There's merchandise, Stay Feral, and it allows me to educate. It's a conversation starter about what that type of bee genetic is and how beekeepers are working with that genetic. Again, about their time. This one is about how bees have 5 eyes. And it's next to the sunglasses. And it says, bees would need 2.5 pairs of sunglasses to be too cool for school and shade their 5 eyes. Right. So it's just, it's a really fun way to be immersive and learn about bees in a purpose-driven shopping environment, but also in an environment that you just wouldn't expect and that you're comfortable with. This is my design called Bees Before Bros. And I pair it with a self-care section. I have t-shirts over here that are called I'd Pollinate That I've made, and they're next to seed packets right here. This one educates people about the how bees need water. And they take it back to the hive and they can purchase water dispensers. And there's jewelry that is fruit themed next to the little recipe, a free recipe guide from honey.com, the National Honey Board. And I mean, that's pretty much, let's see, I'll wrap it up really quickly here. Gifts from the gods. Again, more education about how many 2 million flowers that the bees have to visit in order to make that bear of honey. And really adding, those are all different ways throughout history that the world has revered honey and gifted it. Trying again to change that perception about the value of honey. I'll show you in another section, you can adopt a good luck pocket bee.
Okay.
And then these t-shirts say support live music and local honeybees that I did. And then here's the apothecary section with, oh, you'll love this. You'll love this. Here's a little 3D model of the bee. Here is, this is called the 1 bee's worth necklace. So that's 1/12 of a teaspoon. And it says the pendant on this necklace holds 1/12 of a teaspoon, the amount of honey one bee makes in her lifetime, honoring the life's work of a single worker bee. So again, more fun facts, forager necklaces, the range of honey and color and texture. Okay, so that is a quick run through of that. Where is, oh, here it is. One more thing.
Oh,
So those are the Adopt a Honey, the Luck Pocket Bee. So again, it's a way to support the mission here monetarily a little bit at a time, but also create a reverence, like a constant reminder of how valuable the honeybee is. Okay, let me turn my timer off. I'm gonna put my presentation mode back on so I can finish the presentation quickly. Okay, how's that? Can you see my screen?
yes.
Okay. So implementing this design, it was inspired by museum exhibits to have a wow factor to turn bystanders into students. And here you see the the digital concept that I started with. And I'm really, really happy that it really turned out exactly how I visually imagined it in my brain and according to the concept photos. So implementation was really prepping this entire space, repainting, stripping everything down, digital layouts, concept rendering, spec drawings, complete overhaul of the physical space inside and out, countless late nights meeting with the graphic designer, friends pitching in. There was a local sponsor for the plexiglass, which was the biggest expense that I was able to have sponsored. And many, many meetings with Keon and many, many drafts approved by the B Lab. So thank you so again, so much for that time invested. This was supposed to be a video, but I see here somehow it's not wanting to play. It was a video running through a time lapse of from beginning to end, the whole process. I did present to a meeting. Let me see. No. Huh. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to skip it. I did a trial run through yesterday and it worked. I'm not sure why it's not working now.
Carrie, that's okay. If you want to, you can send us the link and we can maybe post it with the YouTube video if you wanted
Okay.
to.
Okay. So impact and takeaways. The impact is that this exhibit is on track to educate about 7,500 plus visitors, and that's before our official press launch and before the Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting ceremony, which I will invite you all to. I would love to have you here. It's in February. I'm able to observe reactions in real time, gather feedback while educating in order to make an even more robust series and curriculum that I can expand in schools. So I definitely feel like I can educate and outreach and collaborate with confidence now going through this program. And have been able, like I said, to test this curriculum. And I've spoken in schools about biology, history, sociology, wellness, all of these leadership, food security, all of these subject matters as it relates to honeybees. And the results have been so many outreach opportunities. I was really surprised at how quickly the community embraced this platform, and not just for the learning that has resulted, but really the happiness about bees. And so these are some of I was able to be a presenter at the farm. IKEA has asked me to be included in their next Earth Day and also possibly put a version of this exhibit in IKEA. I've worked with the Girl Scouts, City of Burbank. Boys and Girls Clubs is interested in having me be an educator across all the Boys and Girls Clubs. And this picture you see here, that's my son. He's also a beekeeper. And we were consultants on an AI animated series that's in development that is being pitched for streaming, all about bees, but accurately. That's the key word, accurately. And that's why they brought us in as the experts so that we could make sure everything was accurate about the honeybees. Lesson learned, and for future candidates, that's me transporting that huge hive in the van. And so what I would do differently is probably even distill down the content even further. Maybe I'm not sure because some people really engage with certain parts and other people engage with other parts. So, but it can be very overwhelming for some people. And it's so funny how we know that this is just the tip of the iceberg with the amount of information there is about honeybees, right? So, and also, think it would have been helpful to learn some minimal museum installation skills before taking this. I had no idea. This really just became such a larger than life thing, which I'm love and I'm happy about it, but it was very difficult physically to install this scale and scope of a project without having any sort of museum installation skills. And so what's next is to scale the platform and repeat, repeat, repeat. So I have my eyes on places like Whole Foods, Skirball, the Getty. I've already applied to be a creative advisor with the Fred Rogers Productions, and just get versions of this everywhere in urban public spaces so that the education can continue, and become a guest lecturer, teaching other beekeepers how to have an impact using this type of curriculum, increase the outreach with the formal press phase, apply to be a TEDx speaker, talking about this platform, and again, just expand it into other public domain. And so with that, that's the end of my presentation. I leave it here on what the community is saying by people like Noah Wilson Rich, PhD, the biodiversity consultant and founder of Best Bees in the Urban Bee Lab. Kiva Kok, the farm manager at the Fairplex Learning and Development Center. Erica Thornburn, who is a troop leader and service unit co-manager for the Girl Scouts of the USA. And then a community member here, which I think really shows the impact that this project has had. She said, I have entomophobia and I'm beyond terrified of any bug. But Carrie explained to me the importance of bees. And after that, my perception completely shifted and I'm not afraid of them. And that just, to me, that's exactly what this was meant to do. And that is the feedback that I'm getting. So with that, I will say thank you for this opportunity and all the guidance and the contribution that you all have made to me and invested in me so that I can educate others in my community and now beyond that. This will go global, I'm sure of it, once the word is out and the buzz starts for us. Together, I hope to continue to reshape these perceptions and spark new dialogues and transform fear to stewardship. No protective gear needed. So thank you.